Hello, my name is Mufidah Fitriati binti Ali Shabana. So today I want to explain about the factors that influence the organizational communication among employees in Immigration Department MUA. Okay, first of all, for the slide was the research background and introduction. The research will conduct in my workplace, which has about 37% working in enforcement units, and I flight service, passport, visa, pass and permit system. This study will show that communication certification can improve in a workplace by combining three factors of variable, which is emotional intelligence, changing technology, and communication between superior and subordinate. This organizational communication independent variable is perhaps the most difficult to overcome because it involves changing mindset. So we move on to the second slide, which is problem statement. In this problem statement, have three variables that I want to talk, which is emotional intelligence, changing in technology, and superior and subordinate communication. In the emotional intelligence, means that your heart must be belonging to the workplace. You cannot engage with someone if you are not listening to them, because you will tend to make assumptions about their need based on your perception versus reality. Communication style: some of staff in office very outspoken, while some prefer to use indirect approach. Some use detailed data when communicate with others, while others rely on generalities and so forth. However, they are always having miscommunication when one person communicate in different style. This means that in my workplace there have many people. They are very outspoken, also spoken. So when we want to talk with our co-workers or subordinate, we must know the level of uh, emotional thinking, whether they are so sensitive or not. That is the way variable work on to other people. Whether it works or not, it depends on how we talk. It depends on our behavior and our acting to other people. And then the second was the changing technology. Communication technology was always changing, like email, Google Meet, Zoom, and makes organization communication easily accessible. However, this technology can give unbalance for work life and home life, when your superior always call for you because they need you for a emergency. It is especially when you have a WhatsApp group. Then you have a mobile phone, and then they will interrupt you while you work at home. But the impact of technology depends on how superior implements technology in the workplace. So the superior must know when they need to approach their co-workers, whether they are in their morning or in evening or in night schedule, because housewives are always busy to cooking, prepare meals, especially during this pandemic. So then they do not have a very tight schedule. They have a very tight schedule. So superior must always prepare when they need to talk with the subordinate when using a changing technology. So then the third variable was superior and subordinate communication. Superior will inform the date meeting via WhatsApp and what need to discuss in order to solve problem that need further action. Superior subordinate communication includes two types of communication. It is whether downward communication or upward communication. In downward communication, where everyone share the same idea or talk with each other about the idea, opinion about office or gossip or anything that can make the make us environment more healthy, because everyone talk with each other. And then in the upward communication was different kind of communication. When we want to talk with our boss, the communication will be different approach, where we must be more polite and show our generosity, show our confidence, and show our intellectual thinking when talk to the in this stage of outward communication. So, superior subordinate communication has the potential to both strengthen and severely undermine organizational structure, employee engagement, and internal innovation. Email or WhatsApp become beneficial when used to schedule a department meeting. Move on to the uh, fourth slide, which is the research objective and research question. In the research question, on this research was what the level of organizational communication certification in immigration department MUA. Is there any relationship between emotional intelligence and organizational communication? And what are the factors influence organizational communication in immigration MUA Johor? And lastly, what are the relationship between the factors and organizational communication at Immigration Department MUA? The research objective was to determine the level of organizational communication certification among employees at Immigration Department MUA Johor, and to determine whether there is a relationship between emotional intelligence and organizational communication. Then the second research objective was to identify the factors that influence the organizational communication at Immigration Department MUA Johor. And lastly, to examine the significant relationship between factors and organizational communication at Immigration Department MUA. Okay, we move on to the literature review. In the emotional intelligence aspect, it is defined by Peter Salovey and John Mayer that emotional intelligence is the ability to monitor one's own and other people's emotion, and to discriminate between different emotions and label them appropriately, and to use emotional information to guide thinking and behavior. This definition was later broken down and refined into four purpose abilities, which is perceiving, using, understanding, and managing emotion, ability that help a person to be adapted with challenge and necessities of life by expressing adaptive and positive behavior. In the literature about superior subordinate communication, by study conduct by John Anderson and Dale Level, the following was cited to benefit of effective downward communication, where better coordination, improve individual performance through the development of intelligent participation, improve morale, improve consumer relation, and improve industrial relation. In the aspect of changing technology, according to Wick and Roberts 1993, technology and organizational communication process was the social construction of organizational reality, which includes the creation of common values and of a sense of identity and of the belonging to the organization itself. According to von Glaserfeld 1987 and 1999, changes in organizational communication happen when individuals interact with other individuals by technology, thus creating new concepts and other social products, and will continually reshape as individual and technology change. So we move on to the conceptual framework where organizational communication can be divided by three variables that influenced by it, which is emotional intelligence, superior subordinate communication, and changing in technology. Organizational communication can be defined as this channel and form of communication that occur within organizations such as corporation, non-profit, and governmental bodies. It includes both communication within an organization and public-facing communication. And then there in the changing technology, we could see that the evolution of the telephone, which is from old technology to the more modern technology. And then in the aspect of superior and subordinate communication, we could see the responsibility of a supervisor to make sure that communication was successful. In the emotional intelligence, there have some value that must have in oneself, which is internal motivation, self-awareness, empathizing with others, taking criticism very well, listening, and communication assertive to make them available to talk with each other effectively. Okay, methodology that used for this research was designed by using SPSS, the correlational analysis, to test the strength of the prediction of demographic and psychological variable on the criteria variable of organizational commitment and satisfaction. Unit or level of analysis in this study was the unit of analysis is the employee itself at Immigration Department MUA. In another word, the unit of analysis is individual by employee. This study has been focused on the factors that influence organizational communication among employees in immigration MUA. The sample size for this present study is 34, which made up of rank file of Immigration Department MUA. In determining the sample size in descriptive surveys, it is followed Craigie and Morgan table as stated in table 3.1. The population in the respective organization made up of 14 rank the individuals. Measurement and instrument was using questionnaire that having a series of questions and other prompts for gathering information from the respondent. It is set of formalized questions to obtain information from the respondent. The questionnaire for this study will be developed by one language, covers for both Bahasa Malaysia and English language. The proposed questionnaire will cover 5 sections. In the section A was demographic information, section B was organizational communication, section C was emotional intelligence, and section D was superior subordinate communication, and lastly section E was changing in technology. Okay, for the data finding, I want to discuss was in the part E or become factor E when I compute all the variable in part equation to find the mean or minimum score that all the respondent answer. So the score between 1 until 5, where the respondent was strongly disagree or totally not go into the questionnaire. Second, they disagree. Third, they have mixed feeling, means that they are neutral, whether they are not joining any party, and they have a feelings mixed about my opinion. And then third, where they agree or they accept the facts that I want to talk. And the five was strongly agree. But I found that all my respondents have mixed feeling and agree between all the questionnaire, and they are seldom to strongly agree or strongly disagree. It is because I was working on the workplace and I knowing very well everyone in my workplace, and I distribute questionnaire based on my opinion about my workers or my friends. And in the question A, the question A that I distribute was in first question, whether IT application in my department have increased all employees' performance. 2. Sometimes I feel suffering from information overload, whether via media, mass or communication technology as WhatsApp group, Facebook and web of department. Third question was, I found that I involve more on organizational communication when all staff are given more information about how to handle system or technology on workplace. Fourth question was, IT application in my company facilitate user-friendly interface. 5 question was, IT has improved the overall performance of the company. 6 question was, my department use modern IT application. And 7 question was, IT has improved the overall performance of the company. Okay, in the discussion area, there have factor A, B, C, D, and E, where I have find all in the sector A, B, C, D, and E question A. I conclude it to find minimum. Then I do correlation by using percent correlation with sigma to tail. And in the factor A, which is question was about gender, age, marital status, and income. I found that the percent correlation for factor A and factor B was 1, means that they have very strong correlation. Factor C and factor A was 1.46, means they also have a very strong correlation, but factor D have negative 0.28. Factor D was coordinate and superior coordination, means they are not strongly correlate with each other. And factor E, the variable, and in factor A, the dependent variable was 0.170, means they are also positive and have a significant value. Okay, in research limitation, I found that the research was doing on pandemic, and the question A not being able to distribute as many officer was stay at home. Some officer was not having a phone, a very efficient phone, or they are staying at remote place where there is no internet access. So I cannot distribute the question A. So I have very short time to distribute, and my data was not so clearly define everything, and the communication was doing in different hierarchy level because our group was divided by 2 group, so we not meet each other from time to time. So it is difficult for me to meet another friends, to know whether they are good in condition, or whether I can ask the direct or indirect question that could reach their level of thinking or their understanding. Then the technology also changing during the pandemic, but we cannot fully adopt the technology, although the vendor has changed, because not many passport can produce during this pandemic, because the government not allowed public to go abroad or to go for holiday or to go travel to another country. For the conclusion, the study on factors that influence the organizational communication has been successfully implemented and achieved the objective of the research. from the finding, it shows that these three major factors, emotional intelligence, superior subordinate communication, and changing technology, can affect organizational communication, whether in better way or worse way or vice versa, it if not fully adopted in workplace. In addition, according to the finding, it was recognized that organizational communication involves changing in mindset and attitude by recognizing workers' stability in emotional thinking and behavior that have effect vice versa.